Halloween 3 Season of the Witch premiered 40 years ago this month on October 22nd, 1982. And of course, in recent years, the film has become a cult classic celebrated by a super passionate following, hordes of merchandise, and tons of social media nostalgia. Today, I have the privilege of sitting down with Stacey Nelkin, the star of Halloween 3, and my recent co-star from my latest film, The Shed. Hello, Stacey.
Eva, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thanks. Happy Halloween. Almost.
Likewise. Thank you. Yeah, we're very close at this point. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad we could kind of sit down and talk. And yeah.
Of course. Absolutely.
Lovely. Okay, well, I'll just jump right in if that's cool with you. I'd love it if you could just kind of tell us a little bit about, just your career and how you kind of got started in film and TV and all that.
Oh, wow. How much time do you have? I got started because it was a way to escape my dysfunctional family. So I would kind of imagine myself in scenarios from TV shows, on Medical Center or Dark Shadows, and I would be saved by the handsome man, AKA Daddy. All goes back to all that stuff. But anyway, and I loved acting, and I would always get the lead in the school plays. And when I turned 14, I got a manager. I was already living in New York City, and I auditioned for 2 years solid, didn't get, and I auditioned almost every day after school. Wow. On my 16th birthday, I booked 2 national commercials, and then everything just started happening. I started doing parts in TV movies and all that. Met Woody Allen, was cast in Annie Hall, I was up there auditioning for all kinds of big parts in movies. And then when I turned 18, they flew me out to California to do a film. It was a director, John Hancock, who I met for Jaws 2, but at the time I was underage, so I couldn't do the part. I was 16. And then he had this part that he wanted me to do in this movie called California Dreaming. And they flew me out to LA, and I wound up staying and working tons and tons. It was an amazing time to be in LA and be a young New York City actress. So, yeah.
Amazing. I love that. Wow. That's a very cool way to kind of get into that. And I know what you mean. Like sometimes you sort of get one thing and all of a sudden it just snowballs into more and more, and you're like, where did this come from?
Yeah. And at the time, of course, I never felt like I was successful. Now I look back and I go, wow, I actually had a nice career. But I was very blessed, but I also had such a need and a desire to do it. And I think for anybody who wants to do it, as you know, you have to want it more than anything in the world. And I did.
Yeah. And it worked out. So yeah. I'm glad you did. All right. Okay, cool. So I know that we've heard that your role in Halloween 3 was offered to you kind of suddenly, which didn't give you a lot of time to kind of prepare for it. So we wanted to ask what it was like joining, of course, the Halloween franchise at that time and how you felt about getting the part.
Yeah, so I was not a fan of horror films because I was quite traumatized by watching The Exorcist when I was young. and it gave me terrible nightmares, and I don't like to get scared. Sure. And so I liked comedies. At the time, this man named Ron Walters, who was a makeup artist who I had worked with on a miniseries called The Last Convertible, had already been hired to be the makeup artist for Halloween 3. And my then boyfriend, fiance, Perry King, was living with Ron after he left his wife, and we were together. And Ron would talk to me all the time about this movie, and they still haven't found the lead actress, you should look at it. And I was like, oh, no. And I was already doing a lot of comedies, a lot of TV movies, leads and things, and it just kind of didn't interest me because, as I said, I really didn't like horror films. And so finally he convinced me, and I called my agent. I was with CAA at the time, and they sent me the script, and I was sold. I loved the character, and I didn't know how close, they were to shooting, but I went in. I read with Tom Atkins, and Deborah Hill was there, and Tommy Lee Wallace. And literally, as I was walking in my apartment from the audition, the phone was ringing, and it was my agent saying, "You got the part, and you need to get makeup and wardrobe by tomorrow morning, and then you're going to Eureka, flying to Eureka, in like 2 days, 3 days, whatever it was." Yeah, it was really quick and really sudden. And I thought not much of it. I just loved the character, and I got her. I understood. I knew what I wanted to bring to the character of Ellie Greenbridge, and which was a little bit of humor, a lot of balls and spunk, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was,
Really cool.
those kind of things, as you know, as an actress, it never happens where you hear right away and you're shooting right away.
Never.
And like that. Never, right? Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like it was meant to be, really. Everything.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And, we did the movie, and Tommy Lee was amazing to collaborate with, because the writer director, very open to changes and working out, whatever dialogue felt stilted or awkward with me and Tom. And Tom was so gracious and great to work with. And we all kind of thought, okay, well, next, that nothing's going to come from this movie. And lo and behold, 40 years later, here we are.
That's amazing. Wow. It's so crazy when you work on something and it's just like, you film it and okay, it's a movie and you have no idea what's going to happen really. And then, you just never know.
Right. Of all the movies that I had done up till then, or no, right after that, actually, I had a series of some really films that were probably going to make my career, like Yellowbeard, like Get Crazy, Going Ape, none of them. And there were expectations, and they all kind of bombed, and nothing, now people do know them, but they never really went anywhere and gave my career that boost. And now 40 years later, well, it started about 10 years ago. Talk about snowball, this kind of cult status that Halloween 3 has gotten. It's surreal to all of us. Never would have expected it.
That's amazing. I grew up on it. I've always loved Halloween 3, and it's a very unique, in that of course it doesn't really exist within the same universe as people would expect, but it just brings this incredible, beautiful thing of its own. And I think that's so rare, and you absolutely killed it in it. So
wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. It's just the truth. On a personal note, I have to ask, does the song get stuck in your head?
Absolutely. Very much so. I don't know how anybody could watch it and the song not get stuck in their head, right?
Gotcha. It still happens to me all the time. So I was like, I have to ask you and find out.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, so I know that nowadays you do some convention appearances, and I wanted to ask about the Halloween 3 fan base and what kind of keeps you busy and what that's like.
Yeah, the fan base is absolutely amazing, really, truly amazing, because it's the fans that have kept this going, that have gotten me and Tom and Tommy Lee Wallace out there, meeting them and making money and getting to talk about this film that we honestly, all of us thought would, be just back on the shelf, and, nobody would talk about it. And so it's been amazing. And obviously this year, for the 40th anniversary, there've been a lot more conventions, and I did, I don't know, 4 or 5 this year. And I love meeting the fans. They're such cool, interesting people. They really, truly love the movie. And I've seen it go from, about 10, maybe it was 20 years ago when I started doing these conventions, 18 years ago, when Sean Clark, my rep, found me, because it's actually all attributed to him, because he loved the movie and he kind of helped keep it going and getting it out there. And he believed in it when nobody else did years later. And anyway, so in the beginning at these conventions, people would come up and very sheepishly say, I really liked it. I liked it almost as much as one or two. And they would be almost afraid to say that. And now people come, because they felt like they owed 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 and 100. I don't know what they're up to now. I know they're at the end, but I don't believe they're at the end. But they felt some kind of loyalty to that. And because ours was always kind of the black sheep, because there was no Michael Myers. But now they come up and say, this has been my favorite one of all the Halloween movies all along. It's like, yes, you go.
Now they're ready to own it and be like, yeah, this is my favorite.
Exactly. That's and cool. There's a whole other generation of people, as I've noticed at these conventions, people in their 20s, teens, and early 20s, who this was the first one they saw because their parents, God bless them, loved our movie.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to be around this long and have seen just how this has all gone. It's quite something.
Yeah, that is a really unique perspective to be able to kind of see the new generations of fans. I hadn't even thought about that, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I had kids, I have cats currently. I don't talk to them about movies often, but if I had children, I feel like I would definitely show them that.
Right. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Well, I know that you also have some interests outside of acting, and I was just wondering if you'd be kind of comfortable discussing a little bit about this.
Yeah, of course. Well, I became, after I had my kids and took time to be a full-time mother, my favorite role of all times. I got into becoming a substance abuse counselor. And so I've been doing that for the last, 6 years now. And I'm working full-time at a facility here in Massachusetts. And I love it. I love being able to help other people. And it's a personal issue for me. My father was a heroin addict and died from an overdose when I was 17. And so it's very meaningful to me to be able to help any way I can, and I've had my own issues with addictions and so it's been an incredible second career, if you will, although I'm still always open to acting and have been doing a little bit here and there.
Sure. Yeah. No,
with you.
Yes, together.
In
fact. No, I think that's really incredible. I mean, I know, I do a little bit of that myself as far as hypnotherapy, and I've always been very interested in therapy itself and in how the mind works and helping people. And personally, I have a very similar connection as far as family and addiction and heroin specifically, with a family member. And I think it's such important work, and it's just really wonderful that you do that. I think it's quite incredible.
And right back at you. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate that. All right. So let's get into some fan questions from some of our social media fans from Mooncats. So the first one I'm going to ask is from Jeremiah the Joker from Instagram, who asks, if there was ever a remake of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, would you be interested in making a guest appearance in it?
Oh, first of all, Jeremiah, I love the name Jeremiah the Joker. Well, I don't know how that would be possible. First of all, I would do anything at this point to be, back with Tommy Lee and Tom Atkins and do that. But, I was decapitated, and I mean, I could go without an arm, but I kind of lost it pretty badly at the end. Although some people have said, if you're a robot, maybe there's a real Ellie somewhere. So if somebody could figure out a way to make Ellie be resurrected, I'm there.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Gory Bits on Instagram asks, what was your experience like working on the shed? And yeah, just basically that. What was it like for you?
Oh, well, first of all, I loved working with you. I loved working with our fearless, wonderful writer director. And loved being in the Berkshires to get to do it. And it was a really different and challenging role for me to play this character who was mentally unstable. And yeah, so it was great. It was great. Yeah.
Well, you killed it. I personally loved working with you, and you did an incredible job. And
well, I feel the same about your work. Yeah.
Very much. Yeah, it was really
Truly.
fun together. And that it was kind of a unique shoot. I mean, it was quick and we had a lot going on, and it sort of fly by the, seat of your pants, but it worked. So
exactly. Yep.
All right. So Russell Waggis, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. On Facebook asks, do you remember shooting any scenes for Halloween 3 that did not make it into the film?
Oh, what a good question. That is a great question. It's so long ago. I've seen some still shots of me coming out of the shower. I remember filming a shower scene, and I don't know that that's actually in the movie. I don't think it is. So other than that, there's nothing I really remember. Although, as we know, as actors and actresses, that, cutting room, most of us wind up right there on that floor. So, yeah. So I wish I could answer that. I'm sorry. Don't remember anything other than a shower scene.
Cool. No, love
Yeah.
it. Okay. Yeah, you're totally right. Things do end up on the cutting room floor often. Sometimes things we don't think would.
Right.
All right. Tyler Clement on Facebook asks, have you watched Halloween films made before or after Halloween 3?
Oh, great question. No. Sorry. I stick to my not wanting to get scared and have sleepless nights. So no, I actually haven't seen them. No.
That's okay. Sleep is important. I'm a big proponent of sleep, and not having nightmares is a good thing. So
yeah.
All right. Final question. What do you think of all the Halloween 3 40th anniversary nostalgia?
Oh gosh. I think it's amazing. I think, as I said before, it's all attributed to the fans, because it was the fans that made it a cult classic. It wouldn't be considered that if it wasn't for the fans, who I'm not a big fan of social media, but I think social media has helped the fans all kind of get together and talk about it and help create this classic, cult classic that it's become. And so it's really truly amazing, and never in my lifetime would I've thought, as I said, of all the movies, that this would be one that people would be talking about. Never.
Huh. Wow.
And I love how life works that way. Just you expect something and it's something totally different. And I love that. It's a really unique surprise,
Absolutely. I would agree with that completely. You never know. And I mean, I always loved Halloween 3. I didn't know until really social media myself how much of a following it had. I didn't know that, you and I would end up working together. I'm thrilled we have.
Right.
The world just throws stuff at you. So, well, listen, thank you so much for sitting down and talking. And, we love you. All the Moon Cats love you. We're so thrilled to have you be a part of the shed. And thank you very much.
Thank you. And I loved being part of The Shed, and you are somebody to watch for because you're
Oh, thank you.
not only stunning, but you're incredibly talented. So
Thank you.
go
That
get
is
them.
so sweet. Thank you.
I mean it.
Likewise, I feel the exact same about you. All right, Stacey, take care. I'll see you
You
soon.
too. Thanks.